I'm actually not a big fan of Columbia disc machines. I'm a huge fan of Columbia graphophones, the cylinder machines, but the disc machines never really grabbed me, except this one. I love this machine. It's like this cute little green machine, and it's got so much going for it. It's tiny, it's unusual, it plays well, and it's got a green cabinet. I like the early green colored cabinets as opposed to later when they stained them more brown. This one's not too green, but it's still got that look. This is a Columbia AK. This is the early version. It came out in 1902. Columbia had been trying to break into the disc market for a while because they were really well known for cylinder machines, but they could see the writing on the wall that the future was in discs. So they came out with this machine in 1902. It's a nice little machine, as I said. What's slightly different about it than most of the machines Columbia produced, it doesn't have a tone arm here. The horn acts as its own support for the arm. This support arm is aluminum, just as all the other Columbia machines had. But this was supposed to be more of a budget machine. The elbow isn't what you'd see on most of the machines, which was either the brass one, and on some machines that look similar to this, you'll see leather elbows, like on Berliners and things like that. But this one, the horn is attached to this aluminum elbow, which is attached directly to the reproducer. So this is a way of simplifying all the parts and making it a little more stable than some of the other methods of doing it. And after about a year, they already introduced a later version, which has a really nice cabinet. It's called the fluted cabinet. The wood kind of has carved edges into it. And I'll be doing a video on one of those, so you'll be able to take a look at that. So even though they came out with that new version within a year, there was a time when they're basically selling both of these machines at the same time. The decal on this, when I bring you in to look at this closely, you're going to see a couple of decals on this machine that are just gorgeous. I think you're going to love this or fall in love with this, just as I have. The only thing I'm really not keen about Columbia's, and you probably heard me say this before if you watched any of my other videos, is the way this horn support is placed in here. In this one, it's fairly stiff. I don't want to force it out. But frequently, if you ever lift this machine up by the support arm, it can actually just pop out here. So that's kind of a drag because you could literally drop your machine on the floor and destroy it. So when we come close, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I'll show you closely what this reproducer looks like and this elbow, because these are really just the only machine that has that kind of part. And as I said, it only lasted maybe a year, and then there was an overlap with the later version. So let's come in and take a look at it. Like a lot of the earlier Columbia machines, the crank actually unwinds as the machine is playing. A year later, when they introduced the upgraded version of this, that didn't happen. The crank, you could wind it while it was actually playing. They also added an aluminum tone arm the next year. As you can see, nice work. Look at that cabinet. This is in great shape too, and pretty well decorated for such a tiny little machine. I mean, that's a 7-inch record, and the record extends over the cabinet by about a ½ an inch on each side. And you can see the black painted bed plate with some gold embellishments. Okay, I'm gonna bring the camera around. We're gonna take a good look at this decal. Just to prove my point, I went to lift it up to rotate the cabinet to show you the decal. Come on, which way do you want to say it? I don't care. And that popped out as I was lifting it up. So luckily I wasn't standing with it over the floor. Okay, let's get to that decal. Huh? Was I right? Are you falling in love with this machine? I mean, look at that thing. Gotta keep it in focus. And then it says made in USA on a small decal underneath. Just beautiful. And on the back side of the machine, another nice decal. Here's a look at the reproducer. And we go back here, you can see this aluminum elbow and a little knurled knob here to tighten it onto the reproducer. This is original too. From the other side, you can see that there's a little pin there to keep the reproducer lined up at the correct angle for the needle. So the reproducer can be taken off, but it's pretty well held on there. I mean, it's not a bad design for elbow, but as I said, they only use this on this machine. So have I convinced you? Come on.